Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity, a show about weirdos. With your hosts, John Fahey, Aaron Peter, and Matt Brousseau.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity. It's a show about weirdos, doggone it. My name is John Boy. I am your host, John Francis Fahey. Joining me, as ever, is the be-all, end-all, Kendall. Werner Squirtshog, Aaron Joseph Peter.
That's me, dude. I'm a Cenobite now. Pain is pleasure, pleasure is pain. Your world is nothing more than a fucking ball pit at McDonald's for me.
Your world excites
it's a playpen of pain.
Yeah. And, like, when you think stuff sucks, what you call pain, it's actually, like, ecstasy.
Yeah, like if you think something is bong.
Yeah, it's actually dicky.
Yeah. So
that's true.
It's kind of like that.
Gotta listen to the last episode for that, folks, because we are on a part 2 here from, to your right, my left, handsome Matt Brousseau's
Hello.
incredible, exploratory.
It's a real journey into mystery.
Mm-hmm. Now, Matt, last time we did an expedition to the South Pole, and this week we'll be exploring sexuality.
I think we do
Each other?
I think we do that every episode.
I think we do that every episode. Yeah.
It's a good salient point.
Never get anywhere though. My sextant don't work.
We just got to keep exploring, I think.
Just poke
I
around.
got a real wanderlust.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Matt, you doing good?
I'm great.
You doing well?
I'm great. Yeah.
Okay.
Folks, we gotta just say up top, new shirts available. They're incredible. Get them from the Etsy store, please.
Come on, dude.
We're building a studio. And
Wear the shirt, take pictures, post it.
Changing networks.
Yeah.
Starting our own. I don't know what we're doing.
We have a picture. We have a shirt that anyone can take a picture of.
Yes. It
doesn't say piss or
yeah.
Or
jack
you
up
can wear
bar.
this out in public, church.
Yeah.
Mosque.
It's not one that propositions people that go to a certain movie theater.
No, you can just wear this and you really share it. I mean, it should have been the first shirt we made.
I don't know.
But
unbelievable. Really stupid.
You know, it only took us 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
5.
It's been 5.
What?
Yeah.
It's 5.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm on an expedition to the South Pole here myself. I'm snowblind.
Well, I'm on a flow. And the fucking killer whales are tipping me. Yes, please do that. Also, please subscribe to the Patreon. We have an extra episode per week for $5 a month. And you can come be part of the Discord crew. Talk to those maniacs. Shut up, you fucking 5 fucking years of my life down the fucking road. Talking about cum and shit. Talking about cum and piss and fucking. Yeah, and we have a lot of fun over there. We have a lot of fun.
You think we have fun here? I got news for you.
Edgar Olmos, who I did accuse of
Trinko's pee-pee?
I accused Edgar Olmos, true Freak of the Teak subscriber for 6 months, gave us like $500. I accused him of not paying and stealing the show.
And cheating on his wife.
And cheating on his wife. I said a lot of stuff about that guy. It was not cool.
We don't fact check.
It was not cool. I looked at one thing.
Where's Brett Harris on that fact check?
Where were you, Brett?
Yeah,
Come
Brett,
on.
Come on. Chop, chop, Brett. But he did, Aaron, have a specific request about more Explains It All episodes.
Yeah?
He did.
Anything in particular?
No, and he said he wouldn't mind hearing the rest of us do it too, but I think you're kind of the lead on that one.
Okay.
And I think we'd all really appreciate it.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Okay, time travel's kind of been the thing, but we don't have to limit ourselves with just time travel stories.
No.
We could do anything that we really like.
Yeah, I mean, I would say...
well, what do you like explaining?
I would say, I mean, I've heard you do in person... like probably easily from Ventura on that drive, you did most of Stargate.
Yeah, Stargate was.
Oh, that's a good one.
Stargate's
I would like a Stargate explainer.
No. Sliders. Or was it Stargate?
It was Stargate.
Yeah, Stargate is better when I tell it.
But I think you did. Yeah.
and Sliders.
I think he did Sliders too, which we haven't watched together, which is weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a good show.
No, but
The pilot's cool, though.
yeah. But yeah, so, that's still time travel in a way.
Yeah.
Space,
interdimensional.
time,
It's all one fabric.
What else do you think would be a thing? My next would definitely be a cube dive.
Yeah, Cube is dope.
Yeah. Ice Cube, the others.
Yeah,
Edgar asked for one from you too.
Son of
I do really like Stargate.
We do owe him one because
Stargate's a good one.
Yeah.
Stargate's a fucking good one.
Yeah, it's not like super deep, but there are things I could use as jumping off points in that movie.
Yes.
Because it does kind of pull from real areas of quote unquote study at the time.
Yeah.
It kind of weaved them in there.
Yes.
So maybe I'll do Stargate.
Yeah. I would love to see it. So that is the kind of thing we do, folks, on the Patreon.
We mix it up, dude.
Mix it up. We mix it up. I'm still holding out for a Back to the Future one.
That's another one. I could do. Yeah, maybe I'll do the trilogy. Yeah.
In one?
No. In 3.
In 3?
Yeah.
Damn. Did you watch Voss do his deep dive on it?
I did, and it kind of discouraged me because he's so good at it. But I'm a little bit different. A little bit differently around here.
I agree.
If I beat him to 2 and 3, then
did he do a movie? He just did the first one. Okay.
Yeah. And there's stuff in 2 and 3.
I would highly encourage you to do that.
Especially 3. I have a new appreciation for 3 after seeing it again.
The two were filmed at the same time, whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's like kind of a thing too, where you're like, that was like the first, basically what they're doing with the Avatar sequels.
Yeah.
Got a big hit.
So they did that with Matrix as well. After Matrix 1, they did 2 and 3 at the same time.
Interesting. I wonder what else. There's got to be very few franchises that have known on the success of the first one that they can just automatically bank 2 more movies.
Right.
But anyway.
No, that's something to think about.
That's something to think about and not talk about is what Matt's saying. He's like, I'm bored.
Yeah, all right, pal, your episode. Go ahead.
Okay,
Tell us
dude.
about ice.
Yeah.
This is going to be an ice-heavy episode. Aaron, I'm sorry, but I need a favor. My laptop charger is it's right next to the cabinet, the wine liquor cabinet. Mm-hmm. Can you grab that for me?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You want some liquor?
I mean, I got some new whiskey if you want to break that out.
Fino?
Oh, and some mezcal, too, I guess.
Mescaline?
We should have mescaline on the show.
Wait, is he available?
We should probably... Who's mescaline?
I don't know. You seem to know.
Mescaline?
Manscaline?
We should probably do it before a cage match, though, and not...
Yeah.
Anything else?
You know I like a cage match.
I really honest, like, I got
yes, thank you. Yes. Cheers, my good man.
I would really not mind having more of like a second anal cunt episode after doing a lot more research, because to me that's like what Chris Colt was to wrestling in the 70s, the anal cunt was to music in the 90s.
Oh, okay.
It's just the thing, we're like, wherever they go, it's a problem. Mm-hmm. And probably there's a lot of stories to unearth. I would really like, if you haven't listened, go check out the anal cunt episode. It's a good one.
Yeah. We got a picture taken off Instagram for that one.
We did. We were censored by the...
God, that's like the most fucking problematic and a hardcore picture I've ever seen.
It is.
Yeah.
Just...
a guy naked on stage shooting heroin while he's getting his dick sucked.
Yeah. Like...
Naked.
It's the epitome of a guy not taking care of himself, really taking care of himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Real duality. Okay. So,
when self-love goes too far.
Dude love. Where we last left off, Robert Falcon Scott had tragically succumbed to some of the betrayals and the hiring of the wrong man and the lack of understanding of ponies and dogs and
ice.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It's amazing that you wove us through that in a way where it was like, we're like, this guy's so stupid, and then by the end we're like, I love this guy and I'm so sad he's dead.
Yeah.
He was immediately upon his death, that was a tragedy. But then, for God's sake, take care of our people.
God damn, dude. That is that shit where you go like, is that them buying their own bullshit? Like, well, they're fucking British.
We're doing this for God and country. And
It could be, but even if he is buying his own bullshit, it's a good sentiment.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Fake it till you make it. And he made it.
Almost.
He made it. I
mean, he made it once.
He made it in the way where I'm saying, like, he just delivered on, like, being a sturdy, good dude.
And the other, like, the letters he wrote, maybe I'll read those on the Patreon.
To the families.
To the families.
I would love to hear
being like, he was the bravest, great man.
Yeah.
I loved working with him. Just very, very sweet. And to also, as he's like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to die.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the time to write a letter to basically apologize for getting your husband killed.
My bad. My blunder.
I made y'all fish tacos.
You'll be happy to know he died with a full erection.
I'm looking at it.
Look, I pasted a little British flag on it.
I broke it off and pressed it into the pages like a leaf.
But I think, that story has helped set up some of the conditions that they faced, that anybody faced there who wasn't Norwegian. They seemed to have...
It's cold here, too.
You merely adopted the cold. We were born of it.
So after Scott's death, and when those diaries come out, and there is an inquiry into the missing things, but it's never... They just...
The missing things?
Well, the stuff in the diary that wasn't published. There's an inquiry as to why he died, but... It seems like either Scott's wife or Wilson's wife, nobody was really wanted to call out anybody.
Well, the thing is like, for the Empire... You can't
have an Englishman also call it.
An Englishman also be like the fucking and because then you just go like, here's a guy where it's like, and he knows going there.
Yeah,
it's about it's about the fucking nobility.
Yes,
and dying makes it more noble.
Yes,
and so then there's things like, well, he hired this fucking scumbag shithead Teddy who fucked him all over, and you're like, not as noble.
No. That really is. It sours the story for both of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait till release that on the Blu-ray.
The director's cut. The Emperor's
250 years later.
Okay, so now we're gonna go back. But this time with Ernest Shackleton, apparently famous geologist. But no one has ever quoted. I had to look up who said this. This quote has been said many times
about Shackleton,
about all of them, many times. But they never say who says it for some reason.
I mean, he was the first to reach the South Pole, or first to, he
got close.
He got close.
Yeah.
He got 90 miles away.
Yeah.
But this is Raymond Priestley, a geologist, apparently said this. It seems a famous geologist, but not famous enough to quote, apparently. And this is what he says about those three. He says, "For scientific discovery, give me Scott. For speed and efficiency to travel, give me Edmondson. But when you are in a hopeless situation, when you are seeing no way out, get down on your knees and pray for Shackleton."
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And so we're going to be talking about Ernest Shackleton and his failure, which ended up not necessarily being a failure, but what he accomplished was not what he set out to accomplish.
Well, he made friends along the way.
Right.
That's right.
The Cenobites, penguins.
Here's you want to hear what he sounded like?
Yes.
Englishman Ernest Shackleton.
Pinhead.
I cut the book. This is most of this is from what is regarded as the best of all of the books about the Antarctic expeditions, Endurance, the Alfred Lansing book, written in the 50s or so, but with interviews of the guys who were on this trip.
Oh.
And he actually, he's reading this after reading the diaries. Jesus Christ, what a fucking revelation good writing is. Here's the voice of Ernest Shackleton into a gramophone.
My grandma had a phone.
No.
Had those big buttons.
under my command are as follows. We reached a point within 97 geographical miles of the South Pole. The only thing that stopped us from reaching the actual point was the lack of 50 pounds of food.
That'll do it.
Yeah, you got food.
That's Ernest Shackleton, noted hard man.
Frostbite?
That's what narration.
Frozen salad.
So he had gone down with Scott. He had gone down on his own to set that record before they broke it, and then Scott goes down and he dies. And in 1914, Shackleton goes, well, they've got the South Pole. The Americans claim to have the North Pole. For the record, Amundsen, he took a blimp to the North Pole and is probably the first guy to go to both poles.
Oh, pole to pole, baby.
Yeah.
Took a blimp?
Yeah.
Who's bipolar?
He just disappointed him, or I'm not sure what that expression was.
It's good.
But you hate it.
Why didn't they take a blimp to the South Pole?
Why didn't they take a gimp?
I think they did end up as gimps.
Why are we faffing around with these ponies when we can have gimps?
Bung, here.
Bring out the gimp. Let's bong him and dicky him up. He's only warm one because he's in animal fucking leather.
Yeah. Look, you can zip his eyes shut.
And open.
After you drop the cocaine drops in there, of course.
Look, there's a zipper by the bung hole.
Look, there he goes. He does a little trot too. Look.
I slide right in this dude.
He's my tauntaun.
Oh.
So it's 1914. Shackleton is about 40. He's 40 years old by now. And he's just running out of money. And his wife, he promises her a life that of comfortability. And he himself enjoys a little comfortability. He's
2 cars in the garage, a gimp in every basement, I say.
His roots go back to County Kildare. He's
he's a fucking rascally Irishman.
Yeah. Not even a secret about him. Maybe there is.
Shackleton, though, he sounds like a
Yeah, who knows?
colonizer.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yes. But he's going through various money-making schemes like selling cigarettes or setting up taxi cabs or mining in Bulgaria, treasure hunting. All of these are failures.
Selling cigarettes, how do you go wrong there?
Yeah, those things sell themselves.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think there's a whole production of all that. His family motto is Fortinidin Vincimus. By endurance we conquer.
Family motto.
Yeah. And in 1913, he announces his intentions to be the first person to cross Antarctica.
Yikes.
He's going back.
Back.
These people that go back.
Well, so I mean, speaking of that, Amundsen took this guy on his trip where someone was like, "Hey, you got to take this guy because when he's not there, he's
Norwegian.
He's an alcoholic when he's not there. You got to take him."
No.
And so Amundsen took him, and he was great.
This sobers him up.
Yeah, and then
The brisk air.
and then after he got back,
Try him out.
he started drinking again and died.
I'd give anything back with them penguins.
And then when he's there, I was like, I better cross this place. I sure could use a drink. That's how he gets through.
Yeah,
Alcohol.
just wanting that drink.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that's fucking crazy.
I drink the fluid from one of my friend's blistered foot right now. Maybe that's not his accent. I'm sorry.
No, I started it.
So
I'm a follower.
So Shackleton puts out this announcement that he's going to cross Antarctica, cross the continent, and he gets 5,000 applications, as Lansing notes, even from some ladies. And
But you can't. You can't think
that's
about.
not proper.
I mean, it would have been cool if he did.
What if they're?
If you believe in that sort of thing. It was a weird time they believed in that sort of thing.
They're all English too. It's so weird.
Thank God no women went with these fucking animals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They seem like noble men.
I guess.
Well, okay. Well, here I'm just going to show
Not
you.
the guy stealing the food and killing everyone.
Yeah.
I'm just going to show you this picture from their first. This is
Look at that guy. The guy in the middle looks like the Gordon's fisherman. He looks pretty rusty.
Who is the guy in the middle?
that's Shackleton.
Yeah, I like that. I like that one.
Oh, he looks seaworthy.
And the guy on the left is some sort of
Creature.
some sort of sloth, mongoloid. He's one of those Mandingo hybrids
Yeah,
that crawled up from the crevasse, isolated from evolution for thousands of years without the pressures.
it looks like though, like they let him out of the coal mine and they go off to Antarctica.
Yeah, he's 8 years old.
The other guy looks like the guy on the right. He looks like he's.
He looks like the king
looks
king
like-
of the wildlings.
He looks like he has a clear idea of what the expedition is going to
Yeah.
be like.
This sucks.
Or he's going to go like, dude, what the fuck are we doing? This
It
is a
stinks.
huge mistake.
He looks like the king beyond the wall.
So when you said we're going to go back, what you're saying is Shackleton had been there first, but now we're going to a post Scott expedition.
No. I mean, was Scott?
Reach the pole.
Scott had been there first with Shackleton as one of his officers
Yes.
when he got
in the 1901 or so.
okay.
And then Shackleton was the first one to go back. Accidentally lands in McMurdo Sound, which Scott had asked him not to land in, but the
Whoops.
weather drove him to land in there, and so he was like, "Sorry about that."
Please don't land there.
But you can do. You got to land somewhere. And then Scott goes after Shackleton. Scott dies after reaching the pole, and Shackleton wants to go back. He would make 3 trips as the leader.
Trying to stay sober, man. Like I
Yeah.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
gotta get on the wagon, dude. Like I need to go to fucking.
But so he puts an announcement in 1913 that he's going out, and 5,000 applications. He brings along some people that he had worked with previously. He takes on some new people.
5,000.
He goes on a money-making tour to raise money. One of the things he does is he sells the commercial rights to it, to
Make a book or whatever. Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah, he gets money from the maritime societies, a little bit from the government. He's just raising money because he's got to buy a boat,
You gotta have a boat.
and you got to pay the crew, and you got to buy supplies, and so he buys a boat that is called
Gimps aren't free
no.
until after you have them. Then they are.
Yes. Then they're yours.
The boat he
Gotta feed them.
he calls Endurance, I believe. I don't think that was the original name, but it is, by all accounts, it's quite the boat.
Last longer.
Harder.
And this is idea like they know that they will get stuck in ice, and you buy boats that
They're icebreakers.
or
They're steam-powered
or
ships.
can take it.
Yeah.
Get a steel toe on it.
Well, that's what they do. They have like a big front plow on them, basically.
Well, especially going there, right? Because you don't know when it's all icebergs.
Yeah.
You can't take the Titanic.
You can't.
No.
It's sunk. Eventually.
The year before,
What year is it now?
1913.
Oh yeah, it's gone, dude.
Yes. So he bought Endurance for $67,000. Today that would be well over $1 million, but it was kind of built. It was a specially built boat. It was Lansing calls it the pet project of the boatyard. Designed by Anderlund
Yeah, good.
Anderud Larsen.
That guy knows how to make an ice boat.
Yeah. Supervised by master shipbuilder Christian Jacobsen. And
Swedes, Norwegians.
So do you know where it was built?
Norway.
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
See?
Yeah.
See?
They know.
Titanic
And everybody
built
who
in Ireland.
everybody who worked on it had worked on whaling and sealing ships. So they were all people who had been to sea, and they knew okay, you got to do these things. Each timber and plank individually was selected and fitted, and this is from Lansing. For luck, when they put the mast in her, the superstitious shipwrights placed the traditional copper kroner under each one to ensure against its breaking.
Huh.
That's a coin.
Yes.
Yes.
And it was kind of regarded as like, this is the fucking best boat you can fucking do this with.
Yeah.
The last one was last year, and that went down big time. So they probably had a pretty.
Call it unsinkable.
They probably had a pretty stern,
Stern.
Yes.
And it regarded as the strongest wooden ship built in Norway, with the exception of the ship Edmundson ship. So you probably should beat that one if you really want to.
Oh, the small one that brought 5 guys with the dogs?
Yeah.
The wolf pack?
Yeah, the dirty Irishman sneaking in. So he builds his team, Shackleton, and he starts heading south. And they stop at a port here and there, and there's some fighting, and they kick some guys off for fighting. And you go, you can't hang, you're off.
Where were they from?
England.
What the fuck does that mean? Piece of shit.
I couldn't help myself.
I know. You fucking asshole.
Come on, it's just we're having good fun.
Having good fun.
Shackleton's leading the thing. He's the Anglo-Irishman. Something about a visitor.
Now, while as they made their way down the Atlantic, the ship, a lot of people started getting seasick, and one of the first officers said that the ship behaved in a most abominable way. It was kind of like lurching back and forth, but hey, it's the sea.
Boats rock, dude.
Yeah.
As they stop at a port and they pick up some supplies, and while they do this, one of the officers or a couple of the shipmates conspire to get one of their friends to stow away on board.
For fun?
Yeah.
A new player has entered the game.
His name is Blackborough. I just want you to remember his name is Blackborough. It would become important for one small story down the line.
He stows away on an expedition to Antarctica.
Yes. It was a cool thing to do.
That's where I make my money.
And
I'm bringing cigarettes. I'm going to sell them to all the penguins, dude.
And he's eventually, of course, discovered, and he's brought to Shackleton, who just fucking tears into him and berates him.
You wanker.
You're now the gimp of the vessel.
You absolute wanker.
Well, Shackleton ends his yelling, his tirade at him by saying, "Finally, if we run out of food and anyone has to be eaten, you'll be first. Do you understand?"
Yes.
And then Blackborough smiles because he realizes, well, he is taking me on.
Well, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I guess.
Or you say, so the plan is, as Shackleton's plan is that he will drop off a group of men on the north part of Antarctica, that peninsula I had showed you.
Yeah.
He drops some, no, sorry. There would be 2 teams. Shackleton himself would land on there, and then he would make his way to the pole. And on the south, I believe I have this right, another group would land, and they would make their way filling up depots. So that way, when Shackleton crossed the pole and kept going south, he could work from their depots.
Which is actually north.
Yeah. And that would be the Ross Party. And I will save their story for the Patreon. It's 6 men, 70 dogs, and it doesn't go well. Who would have guessed?
Oh, the dogs talked.
the dogs learned to read, yeah. It was a real issue.
There's more of us than there is of them. And
they do say that, like, if you're not, like, you can't have dogs on Antarctica because they will kill every penguin they see. They will just destroy every animal they see. Whoa. They hate penguins and will brutally slaughter every penguin. And not do anything. It's not like they need the blubber or anything. They just want to kill them.
That's
it's a centuries-long grudge. Started by the Cenobites, of course, and,
who else? Yeah.
Of course, the dogs are, God-fearing Christians, and penguins, of course, love the
Dark Lord.
The Dark Lord, and,
some black-ass magic, and these dogs are some,
Thank God there's no goats there. Be in a lot of trouble.
So I believe today, dogs are not allowed on Antarctica.
No dogs.
No.
So that's why it was such an aberration in the motion picture, The Thing. When that dog,
Yeah.
Dog goes haywire.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
Where did he come from?
He sprouts a head and legs and shit. It's fucking,
Cenobites are probably going, there's no fucking dogs here.
who made sure of that?
So they start making their way. Well, so right before they're actually about to leave, World War I breaks out.
That'll.
Let's go to Antarctica, guys.
And Shackleton's waiting for England, for the Prime Minister. Well, it's not Churchill, someone, but he's waiting for the government of England to tell him, you can go. He's waiting for their permission to go and do this.
Just a moment.
And so, like, their World War I breaks out, and they're like, okay, so can we still go? And Churchill sends him a telegram and just says, proceed. And then later he sends like a whole message.
Churchill?
Yeah.
Proceed to turn around, I meant.
Who's in some position in the government to do that.
Yes, got you.
So, eventually, they make their way south. December 5th, 1914, is when they leave this whaling station in the island of South Georgia, near Antarctica. Mm-hmm. And they work their way south through the ice. Now, this is... So that's December 5th. They have pretty smooth sailing for about 2 or 3 days. Mm-hmm. And then they encounter the pack ice that forms around Antarctica.
David Lloyd George.
Ah, okay. But Churchill did send them the telegram.
Yes.
And so they encounter the pack ice and they go, okay, well, we expected this. And they start moving the boat through the ice.
Squirreling away.
Squirreling through it, worming through it. And that's December 7th. And the plan is, well, like, the ice moves in this clockwise fashion around, like, past the, around the land.
Like in a toilet bowl.
Kind of, yes, exactly like that. And I showed you that peninsula, like, it just works its way up and around. And so, you just keep going.
Almost in a ritualistic.
Yeah, nighttime is the right time.
And
Are they deaf too?
And penguins don't hear good.
so by the beginning of January, they get within 200 miles of land. And then on January 15th,
Another January 15th.
They work their way into a flow. And as they get into this like space between these two flows, a flow comes in behind them, and now they're encased in between.
It was a backflow.
Yes.
They got upper decked.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And now it's just, it's not like this is news. There was some expectation of this. And it's just, okay, we'll just follow it until it brings us closer to land. And then once we get close enough to land, we unload all of the stuff. And we set up camp. And, for Scott's first trip, his boat was stuck in the ice for months and months. Jesus. And eventually it freed itself. It got free. And then, so it's not nothing worrisome.
Par for the course, dude.
Here I go now.
But they have a radio, but they don't have a transmitter.
Huh?
Yeah.
So they can just hear?
Yeah. I know.
Jesus.
See what's going on around the world.
Yeah. Is it us? No. No one knows. Like,
sounds like the war is bad.
We're lucky we're here.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as December 5th is the last time they have contact with the outside world. And now it's January 15th. Now they're trapped. By the 18th, they're fully trapped in the ice. The ice has just locked them in. And they're at the mercy of wherever the ice is going.
Nice.
They're frozen as this one character, Ordsley's, the storekeeper, who everyone hated. He described it as frozen, like an almond in a candy bar.
The storekeeper as in rations?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, everybody hated him.
Well, yeah.
He's using candy bar analogies?
Yeah.
Only 2 cocaine eye drops?
There's 15,000 almond joys, but there's fucking 2 Coke tablets? What the hell's going on here, storekeep?
What is this?
Fucking Mounds. Almond Joy has nuts. Mounds don't.
Huh. Everybody hates me on air. I'm the one that doled out the what.
So on the 18th, the boat is just, Shackleton is going, fuck, I don't think we're going to be able to do this. And here, if you look on the map here, you can see the journey they have taken. Enter the ice pack. Then they get stuck in the ice. They just want to get to that ice shelf 200 miles away.
The Rhone.
Yes. And
Show me where?
Down at the bottom. They're trying to get to
Gotcha.
that.
Yeah, they're trying. Okay.
because then they can unload their stuff, set up a camp, and then start, planning their march.
Can we talk about how close Chile is?
In Argentina, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Fucking Tierra del Fuego is right there, bro.
But like, is that just the perspective of the map? Like,
No, they're very
No,
close.
no.
are they cold?
Well,
Yes, the lower part of Argentina and Chile, yeah.
Like,
It's icy.
That's very close.
Yeah.
Looking, I know that it's like once it's on a full globe, it may not look as close, but
Globe.
yeah.
But yeah, they're close, but that's hundreds and hundreds of miles.
No.
Which is close.
Yeah.
And so what we have coming out here to you from we got the Palmer Land and we got the Graham Land and
That's that peninsula he was
Queen Maud Land and like all that shit.
Yeah. And for the patrons, I will have all of these pictures available for you.
And it's no Terror Mountain.
No, it's no.
In fact, they got the Sandwich Islands. That sounds
Yeah.
fun. Huh?
Yeah.
They're like
And
here's Picnic Peak.
they can take over the Isle Malvinas, or as the English say, Falkland. So they get stuck in this ice and they go, all right, well, we're not that far. Maybe the ice will take us closer to land.
It's all good.
Maybe the ice will take us closer to land. But Shackleton, by this point, he's going, I don't think we're going to be able to do this because we're now behind schedule. I don't think this expedition is going to happen. And so he orders the dogs off the boat and they build a shelter for them. They build these dog glues, they call them, dog igloos.
Dog loose.
Yeah. Because they're going, we're just going, when the boat is free, we'll rethink what we're doing, but we can't go anywhere with the boat here.
And so he kicks the dogs off because they're too
Just, for space
and like food.
and also when they're out, they can exercise them
Got it.
and they don't have to march them on and off the boat all the time.
Right. Just get them off the fucking boat.
And
fucking.
And so they also go like, okay, well, food, we need more food. We need to plan that we might be here a long time. We don't know how long, but we need to plan for that. So they start killing seals. They kill just hundreds of seals.
Good.
In 90 days, they collect 5,000 pounds of food from the seals.
Good. You gotta eat.
Okay, good.
They're fucking all over the place, dude. Seals everywhere.
Okay.
And the ice flow by, now it's April.
Okay.
Nice.
And the ice flow is moving about 2.5 miles a day. And they had, since February, they had drifted about 130 miles. And this is from Lansing. The Endurance was one microscopic speck, 144 feet long, 25 feet wide, embedded in nearly 1 million square miles of ice that was slowly being rotated by the irresistible clockwise sweep of the winds and currents of the Weddell Sea. So now they're just in this little churn, going...
Rounding the drain.
Yes.
How are you gonna get out of it?
Hope.
Endurance.
Hope is good.
Yeah.
Hope is good.
Gimps.
Hope will do. Yes.
Now, they were worried about...
Free my gimps.
One of the men who had helped finance the Endurance, the building of it, had also been stuck in the Weddell Sea on a boat. And this is what Lansing writes. He says, this is 1899. With the coming of the night, the Belgica's crew became infected with a strange melancholy. As the weeks went by, this slowly deepened into depression and then despair. In time, they found it almost impossible to concentrate or even eat. In order to offset the terrifying symptoms of insanity they saw in themselves, they took to walking in circles around the ship. The route became known as the Madhouse Promenade.
Oh my God.
I'd do it.
Dude, they're walking in circles again. They're fucking coming under the nefarious influence of these demonic penguins and the Cenobites.
Yes.
On that trip, one man died of a heart attack just from that. Another man was so scared that the rest of the crew was going to kill him that every time he slept, he crawled into the smallest space he could find.
Oh my god.
So Shackleton's crew eventually started worrying about like, are we going to go crazy? Are we going to go ice madness? And so they hold soccer games. They do concerts. They do like scientific lectures. There's a concert where one of them is in blackface, of course. Yeah.
God almighty.
Was the style at the time?
Listen, man. You're in Antarctica. You know, there's no rules, man. You just got to survive. And if it takes, rubbing some people the wrong way, bleeding our libs, fuck them, man. Who cares about the woke mafia? What?
Yeah.
They're all gonna die.
Yeah, and they're going crazy like, it's time to be just crazy racist.
Yeah, I'm Al Jolson.
I told you my name's Al.
He just stays in blackface the whole time now.
I'm Al Roker.
After the surgery.
The weather's bad.
On to you, Bryant.
So they hold mock trials, over like, oh, you ate too much food, or just anything to keep the
you came
the
too
levity.
hard inside me.
Yeah, exactly.
You came too hard inside me.
It was like a jackhammer. What?
Jesus Christ.
Is that weird? Is that abnormal? Who's to say?
And so they got stuck in January, and in August they're still stuck.
They got stuck in January and in August?
They're still stuck.
Man, all that sea.
Yeah, dude, they're fucking nuts. They're fucking fully nuts by now.
Well,
Do they know where they are?
They're gonna be like, let's sink Antarctica.
They have
this
they
place.
have navigators. If they can see land,
Yeah.
they can take guesses of like using sex tapes.
Oh, using sex tapes?
Yeah, dude, it's lonely down there. They had to use sex tapes.
But they're
We'll go to you, Ray J. Let's.
I told you I'm Al.
Can I have that robot cock?
But they can't, they don't want to load everything, because if the ship does get free,
You're gonna need that.
you're going to need that. And so they're just waiting for the moment when they can just get free. That's all they're waiting for at this point.
Dude, January to August.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah. And there's just slowly.
Anybody die in between January and August?
No. No, I mean, they're killing seals. They've got plenty of food.
Yeah. They
Plenty of
can
blubber.
survive.
They like all of their equipment is working.
Yeah.
We got all the blubber a man
They
could
got
need.
some cards. They got, they probably got like a Monopoly game.
How much flubber do they have?
If they had flubber, they could bounce right out of it,
Yeah,
bro.
that's true. They do have cards. They do have, they have a foot. They play soccer.
Yeah, that's cool.
That is cool. I was waiting for the recreation.
What if they came back as like the best soccer team in the world? Like,
And they're like, we didn't have to eat our friends.
yeah. Like, fuck
Antarctica,
those alive guys.
Antarctica, we got a soccer team.
Yeah. And like, because they've been playing in snow when they get on grass, it's like, it's just like super easy.
Yeah.
It'd be great. That'd be a great Disney.
And now the hooligans of that team are really racist.
Yeah, I mean, they got a
they're
guy in
in
blackface.
There's just one hooligan. It's just that guy.
It's the captain.
But I think they do have like they have like I think they have dog races and like But they also don't you don't want to venture too far, because you have to make sure you get back, and if you fall through the ice, you fall through the ice.
Yeah.
And also if the
Own goal.
if the ice breaks around you, it might then close up on top of you.
Oh, God.
We're talking about pieces of ice that are 5-6 feet thick or more. And they're just being shoved together by this churn and bigger pieces of ice. And so they talk about just seeing these giant pieces crushed together and then thrown up into the air, just off into the distance. And they can hear this cracking of the ice.
God damn it.
And they're just going like, okay, well, everything
It's that
seems
magnetism. It's that crazy magnetism.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that.
It's the Penguins. Come on.
Now, Aaron.
John.
It's a question for you.
Sure.
South Pole. Antarctica. who's more powerful? Magneto or Bobby Drake, the Iceman?
In general or in this location?
In this location.
I don't think it really matters. I would say
From
my
X-Men people.
yeah, the X-Men. There's Bobby Drake, the Iceman,
I know,
noted
I know.
X-Men and Omega level mutant, and Eric Lensher, Magneto, Master of Magnetism. Both
Called Magnus.
yeah, that was some bullshit.
Stupid. Like Blackagar, Boltagon.
yeah,
like,
come on,
Dumb shit. Stop it.
Both Omega level mutants.
Mm.
You know, it could go to a stalemate.
Mm.
But when you're dealing with I mean, it depends on who's writing them, you know?
Mm.
My personal choice would be, I would like to say Bobby Drake, the
gay guy.
Iceman. Yeah.
The gay guy.
Yeah.
I always side with the gay guy.
Yeah. But Magneto, you know, when you're using, you know, you're working with forces of the universe here, the electromagnetic forces,
Sure.
you know, of the four fundamental forces, I believe the most powerful, strongest. You know, gravity is nothing compared to the electromagnetic force. But it could be argued that Bobby Drake, the Iceman, might control entropy itself.
That's very good.
So, you know, it could go to a stalemate depending on what sort of a mindset that Bobby Drake is in.
Yes.
The Iceman. So,
It's emotional.
It's a what if mashup I'd like to see.
I love it.
Well, it sounds like a really good deep dive in Patreon.
Hey,
Are you saying we should move on from this side quest?
good point.
Matt, you're
Well,
right.
because I know you guys could talk about it for 45 minutes.
We won't. Moving on.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
So they're in August, and the ice is breaking up, and they're going, okay. And in their dining dance hall blackface area, they called the Ritz.
The Ritz.
The men were there was some men down there talking about whether they thought the boat was equal to any pressure from the ice, if the ice might crush the boat.
God damn.
And Shackleton sits down.
Well,
with
they're
them.
kind of doing the Iceman Magneto thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Shackleton sits down with them and he tells them this tale. He said, "It's from Lansing. Shackleton said there was once a mouse who lived in a tavern."
Wait, this sounds
Irish?
like a limerick, and
Yes.
he's not from Limerick. He's from Kildare.
Sounds like a Kildare.
There once was a mouse from. Okay, go on.
There once was a mouse who lived in a tavern. One night, the mouse found a leaky barrel of beer and he drank all that he could hold. When the mouse had finished, he sat up, twirled his whiskers, and looked around arrogantly. "Now then," he said, "where's that damned cat?"
Okay, I understand that as a joke.
So Shackleton's parable is basically saying, don't get too cocky. The ice might be breaking up right now, but I need you to calm down.
But they're saying, are we going to have a boat to leave with?
And he's saying, we don't know.
So don't even talk about it.
What is a boat anyway?
Yeah, what is a boat? So, midnight, August 29. There's a crack, like a clap of thunder. Crack. And the ship just fucking waddles back and forth. It rocks, and then everything's calm. And the guys are going, look,
Told ya.
she can take it. She can totally take it.
Twirling their whiskers.
She's a tough broad.
October 16th, Shackleton feels that the pack is opening up, and he orders everybody, all hands on deck, boilers out, let's fucking try to fucking force our way in full power.
Yeah.
And as they go to full power, there's a leak in one of the boilers, and as they turn everything off to get that leak, because they don't want to run the fuel full power all the time, because they might run out of fuel.
And it's been cold and hasn't been fired up.
Yeah. And yeah, no,
Chilly.
there is a thing about warming it up takes so much fuel
Yeah.
that it is wasteful if it's not for
A reason.
a reason. And that afternoon, then again, the ice just closes right around him again. Fuck. And a giant crack slams into the boat and tilts it 20 degrees.
Jesus Christ.
Everything that's not bolted down flies off. And that night, then again, the ice lessens and the ship turns back. But the barometer readings are showing low pressure, and the weather is going to get worse. And as the wind gets worse, that changes how the pack moves. If the wind is blowing a lot, the pack gets more forceful because the wind is blowing all of these separate pieces, and they're they're in the middle of it, and the force is all just shoving towards that boat.
Fuck.
A week later, the pressure of the ice itself against the boat rises, and the winds are rising, and the wind is now twisting the ice pack and drags the boat up and around, and just is hitting it with ice, and the stern of the boat gets ripped off. A large group of emperor penguins waddles up to the boat, looks at it, and cries in unison.
Our revenge is complete.
Release the hounds!
The disciples of Scott have paid the price.
We will avenge.
They cry in unison?
Yeah. And someone on the boat looks at Shackleton and notes that he bites his lip.
He might have well have been sobbing.
He might have been coming.
And it kept making noise and making noise
And the penguins kept
and making noise.
screeching in ecstasy.
I think they just walked off. They had done their job. Man. This is from Lansing. It was no better at dawn or at noon. About 4 o'clock, the pressure reached new heights. The decks buckled and the beams broke. The stern was thrown 20 feet upward, and the rudder and stern posts were torn out of her. The water ran forward and froze, weighing her down on the bow. So when the ice climbed up her sides forward, inundating her under the sheer weight of it. Still they pumped, but at 5 o'clock they knew it was time to give up. She was done, and nobody needed to tell them. Shackleton nodded to Wild. Wild went forward along the quaking deck to see whether anybody was in the forecastle. He found Howe and Bakewell trying to sleep after a turn at the pumps. He put his head inside. "She's going, boys," he said. "I think it's time to get off." And they all got off the boat and set up camp on an ice floe.
They get a lot of good stuff out of the boat
They
beforehand.
took as much as they could, and then after they set up camp, they started going back and just like hacking away at the boat and
Getting the
taking
wood planks.
wood off and
Whoa.
taking as many supplies as they could.
Good.
But also, it was not safe to be around the boat either.
No,
Okay, but
'cause
how the fuck are you going to get back?
well, listen.
Well, that's John. I think maybe it's a good time to take a break and
I do listen.
And we'll be right back.
We'll be right back. We love you. And we're back.
so
Exploring the South.
now they're off the boat, and
You're going to want to listen to this.
it doesn't mean the boat is done, but they're just saying it's not safe for us to be on the boat.
We still believe in the boat.
Still.
After the stern rips off and it's splitting at the seams
So they
and they're
have
peeling off planks?
3 small boats.
Oh.
They have 2 that are basically like open top rowboats, and one that Shackleton names after one of the financiers, James Cairn. And that is it's a closed top, but it's about a 20-foot.
It's like the Minnow or something.
Yeah, it has
An elite lifeboat.
So Shackleton orders everybody off, and they set up camp about 200 yards away from the boat, and they fall asleep.
But you said they're on a floe,
They're on a floe.
which is an ice shelf that moves.
Yes, and they are too far from land to move everything to the land, and also they have no contact with the outside world.
Right.
So even if they did get to the land, you go like, how long could you be there?
Mm-hmm.
So Shackleton, the first thing he does is just move everybody off. And the night they move everybody off, he can't sleep. He's pacing outside. And then the ice under him starts cracking.
Jeez.
He orders everybody to move the camp again. And they rush off to find something that's not cracking.
Mm.
And then eventually they find a camp, they find a place, and it seems thicker, the ice. But Shackleton sits down and he has to figure out a plan here. And so his plan is to march to Paulet Island, which is an island that is, near the edge of that peninsula.
Okay.
It's about 346 miles. And they would drag whatever supplies they, as much as they could drag, and the boats, And he knows at Paulet Island, or at least he believes that there are food stores from 1902 that were left there.
Fresh.
Well, it's frozen.
Yeah.
If it's frozen, it's fresh, baby.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it was later, later people would realize that if it's the meat will start to go bad eventually, even if it is frozen. But still, it's better than nothing.
Yeah. And there's probably some other good stuff there, like Twinkies, dehydrated ice cream. Tang.
Yeah, there's with Dippin' Dots.
Yep. Yeah, all that future stuff.
Moon ice cream.
Should be there.
Should be there. Space food.
Still good stuff. That stuff keeps.
But the thing is, all of his plans depend on the ice, and the ice is moving. And if the ice moves into open ocean, and they can't launch the boats, or even if they can launch the boats, maybe they're in open ocean and they can't row harder than the current,
right? And
they get dragged out into the sea.
Yeah.
So right now, it's better to have some semblance, because on the ice, at least they can go and kill seals.
Which is great fun.
But,
it kills the time.
Morale building.
Yeah.
And
you could dress one up in some lipstick and like make it seem like it's
and also
their turn.
Every time they're about to run out of food, a fucking leopard seal shows up and tries to
kill them all.
Try to kill one of them. and they shoot it and they're like 1,000 pounds.
Fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Fucking 1,000.
You dumbest bastard of all time. That guy goes, I got the juice now. And
bang.
Like
stupid.
There's one story of someone notices a leopard seal
dressed as a sailor.
He's wearing a penguin suit.
What's up, fellow explorers?
Boy, it sure is cold.
God. Wow.
Renegade Irishman here.
I got some spuds back at my igloo. Come on with.
There's some chicks. But you don't like sex.
Chicks, man. Oh.
Get it? And there's a story of one of them sees a snow leopard or a leopard seal, and it's near the edge. And so he walks over to it, does a penguin impression, and the leopard seal jumps onto the ice and starts chasing him. And another guy then pulls out a gun and shoots the leopard seal dead.
He does a penguin impression.
Yes.
Not hard, Aaron.
No,
just get dressed up every now and then, bro.
Yeah, and then attack Batman. It's pretty standard.
He has did he have an umbrella with a gun on it?
Yes.
This question's for the sea lion.
So, they figured they had 2 months. They had 2 months to stay on the ice and figure out where the ice goes. And the ice will make their decision for them of whether they force a march to the camp or if they take their chances by putting the boats in the ocean.
It's destiny, friend.
Yes. But still, Shackleton is going...
I don't know, man.
Like...
Seems like a fucking doomed motherfucker.
You guys should have brought somebody else. Hey, and then, dude, they still got that fucking stowaway.
That guy.
Fucking guy.
Yes. But, he's a part of the crew now, and he's in their terrible state, too, so they're all equals at this point.
What a fucking great choice he made.
Yes.
Fucking idiot.
Well, he could have been drafted in World War I. He might be in the trenches.
Aaron, that is a wonderful point.
It's true.
It's not like he would have known, but I mean, shit, which would you pick?
It really might have been a choice.
But it wasn't happening. It hadn't broken out.
No, it
yet.
hadn't broken out yet.
When they left?
Yeah. Wow. And when he put out his announcement and stuff. So this is...
Fuck, man. Talk about... Is that dodging it? I mean, which one do you...
But also, like, it seemed like Europe also kind of, like, all knew it was coming. And they were waiting for, like, the ignition.
Okay, moment.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like this guy was reading fucking books on geopolitics.
The fuck do you know?
He's a stowaway on a fucking boat going to hell.
So Shackleton, he explains, he says, okay, so we will march to the island when we get our chance. And
March of the Penguins.
Lansing, he writes this, he says, nevertheless, there's a remarkable absence of discouragement. All the men were in a state of dazed fatigue, and nobody paused to reflect on the terrible consequences of losing their ship. Nor were they upset by the fact that they now camped on a piece of ice perhaps 6 feet thick. It was a haven compared to the nightmare of labor and uncertainty of the last few days on the Endurance. It was quite enough to be alive. They were merely doing what they had to do to stay that way.
I will say this. and this is the only time you'll ever hear me speak in favor of the British. But the that stiff upper lip thing is a thing where you go like it kind of doesn't dovetail with the rest of their thing of like beat and conquer and enslave and divide and the rest of the British Empire. But when it is them under duress, and especially during like the Blitz and stuff like that, like
They button up.
it's just a thing where it's like, all right, we all know it sucks, and you know, I know that you know this about me, but like I hate complaining.
Yeah.
You know, when you know we had fucking just one time on tour, it was like a flat tire, like during like a 3 a.m. drive. It's like nobody gets out and is bitching, and like we were just like, you know, it's just like, yeah. Do you think we don't know it sucks? Of course we know it sucks.
Yeah.
We don't. Nobody needs to be like, oh,
Right.
That's where
You're
like
bringing the vibe down, dude.
yeah, it's just like, okay, what now?
Feed you to the
You know,
fucking
which
leopard still.
you know I'm a big proponent of. Okay, yeah, it sucks, of course. What now?
Yeah.
But it seems like
And also, so what Scott did in his hut is he separated the officers from the non-officers. With they had like a wall of supplies, and the scientists and the officers were to one section. And Shackleton does not do that.
keeps them all together.
This is Lansing writing about Shackleton. So he was not a risky man, but he was one of the guys in a way. Even though he was boss, and there was a separation because he was the boss. But this is Lansing's paragraph about Shackleton. Shackleton's aversion to tempting fate was well known. This attitude had earned him the nickname Old Cautious or Cautious Jack, but nobody ever called him that to his face. He was addressed simply as boss by officers, scientists, and seamen alike. It was really more a title than a nickname. It had a pleasant ring of familiarity about it, but at the same time, boss had the connotation of absolute authority. It was therefore particularly apt and exactly fitted Shackleton's outlook and behavior. He wanted to appear familiar with the men. He even worked at it, insisting on having exactly the same treatment, food, and clothing. He went out of his way to demonstrate his willingness to do the menial chores, such as taking his turn as Peggy to get the mealtime pot of hoosh from the galley to his tent. And he occasionally became furious when he discovered that the cook had given him preferential treatment because he was the boss.
Very good politicking.
Yes. Little things go a long way.
But it is that thing too of like, all right, well, you know, again, like no mutineers, and just the thing of being like, all right, listen, like we're all in this together. We're in hell. There's Cenobites everywhere. The penguins are circling. They're chanting. They're fucking. You know, they're
fucking leopard seals as fresh as we ever had it.
the dark prayers. You know, the killer whales are tilting the fucking flows, and you know,
Penguins laughing.
Seals are showing up, disguised as Englishmen.
Yeah.
And even being
Top hats, etc.
speaking politely.
Yeah.
And
Pinky's out.
yeah, Pinky's out, and you know, but fucking acting like Sherlock Holmes, whatever. But yeah, I think that is
It's a good move.
it's a very good move, and it's also very understanding of in the jungle there is no law.
There's no
Like,
hierarchy.
there's no hierarchy.
There
Like-
is the ice and us.
In London, you might be the fucking great and poobah, but
Yeah.
Right. No, I imagine Shackleton, if a guy like Teddy Evans says, we can't take that guy, he's above my rank, Shackleton go like, okay, we can't take you.
Yeah, bye.
yeah. But that with the behavior of Scott answers my question in episode 1 of why is there no fragging? Like some guys bringing fucking ponies and like going like, let's fucking kill this motherfucker and get off this fucking burg alive.
Well, they know.
But, you know what I mean?
They
Like,
signed up. So, November 21st, the men, they're salvaging stuff from the boat. You know, they keep going back and taking stuff.
it's good
And they
shit.
notice that the floes that are holding it have started moving. And they run back to camp. And Shackleton gets out of his tent, and out of the corner of his eye, he sees a whoosh. The boat rises 20 feet in the air and then falls, disappears under the water, and the ice closes immediately right
Oh
on
my
top.
God, it is hell.
Shackleton in his diary notes that the boat sank, and then he adds, I cannot write about it. That's all he said.
Great God, this is an awful place.
The end.
So they sit on the ice and they wait and they ride it and they kill just gobs of seals.
Hell yeah.
Just, oh.
It's a sacrifice that the iceberg demands.
But it's also a thing, if they don't kill them now, when the season changes, the seals might not be there.
Yeah, you
so you
gotta
have
do
to
it.
build up a store.
Where are they going to go? Underground?
No, to just another part of the island.
Yeah, man,
another part of the continent or
yeah.
something. You know, they're migratory. They, you know.
Smart.
Yeah. By the end of November, they had finished patching up the boats. They packed up their supplies. They charted the maps, but the ice still hadn't opened up. So they waited on the ice as it moved 2 miles an hour in this churn and turn. Shackleton now, by the end of December, was sensing morale was getting low, decides that they should move the camp west to do something.
Yeah.
Just anything.
Yes. Have there be a mission.
But every time they move, they also have to leave stuff. So you build up this grand supply of food, but if you move, you can't take it all.
No.
I mean, you can leave it there and you can go back and get it, but the further you go, the more dangerous it is because the ice might
Move. Now,
might
what if they build
weaken.
like a trebuchet or a catapult and they
flung it.
flung it ahead?
Yeah.
Like a depot of
Yeah.
sorts. Did they do that?
No, they didn't ask you.
Now,
No.
See, well, it would have saved them a lot of time building a trebuchet.
Played a lot of those role playing games, you know?
Where you fling
Civilization 5,
food,
StarCraft.
then crash it through the ice.
You gotta trebuchet the food ahead. You can't be wasting your manpower on hauling seal meat.
Yeah.
You gotta.
Well, they're still using the dogs at this point.
Good.
But
Dogs are getting old.
as they're marching, you know, they reach a spot where the ice is too thin, they retreat. They reach a spot where the ice is too thin, they retreat. They set up camp, the ice starts cracking, they retreat. And they end up on this floe that is now basically detaching itself from all the other flows.
oh my God, it's becoming like its own continent. It's just like, hey, we're striking out. Dude.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
going on our own.
We got
like,
these guys.
good guys.
Good guys. We're gonna go fuck off.
We're gonna start a new society.
Independent of any penguin magic. None of that shit, dude.
Where
No
the dingoes?
Cenobites allowed.
We're the
Yeah.
dingoes. We're the men.
We got the king of the penguins, Oates here.
We even got a
Resurrected
we even
it.
got a guy in blackface.
Yeah, we got Oates here resurrected as the Night King. And he's on one.
Yeah. He is pissed.
So
He does not like Al Jolson.
So just to give you some sort of idea here, I'm going to show you a map of.
Dude, honestly, I have loved the maps this whole series.
Dude, maps are cool.
It's really good.
Thank you. I've edited them all to not give away any secrets.
Yeah, plot points. I like it.
Yeah. So I showed you where they got trapped in ice. So here is where the boat sinks.
Oh my God.
They have drifted almost all the way up the peninsula.
Just by virtue of just the natural flow of
Yes.
the ice on the water.
Yes. And that's November. By January, they're still on the ice. And Shackleton orders the dogs to go back to their food for one last run of supplies. And then all but one of the dog teams are killed.
Fuck.
Just falling in the ice, basically.
No, they shoot.
Froze.
Oh, all but one of the dog team. They shoot all the dogs, not the guys running.
Right.
Got it.
That would be
They keep one dog.
Yeah.
No, they keep one dog team.
Okay.
But they shoot the other dogs because they,
Good dogs. Good dogs.
you have to feed them, but also
Solid
if you're
dogs.
also that's food you can eat.
Yeah.
And they do say later that like
These
the
dogs
dog meat was incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they had been eating seal for
Which tastes like
months and
shit.
months and months and months.
Anything different.
Yeah. And
None of this. I don't like it.
Yeah. Honestly, if they gave him dog food,
Oh yeah.
he wouldn't.
Do you think
he
they
wouldn't have stole all that
did they
shit.
do anything with the furs of the dogs? Might they have used their bones as money?
Or even the heads, perhaps. some kind of, headdress.
Yeah, like a shamanistic style. I'm the Wolfman now.
Yeah,
I'm the leader of this.
I actually captained the flow crew as
We're all the dog men. We're all the mandingos now.
I am Mandingo, and I rule this pack.
I can lick my own dick.
And that feels good.
I've been practicing for a year in the ice.
So now it's when they kill the dogs. It's mid-January. They've been off the boat and stuck in the ice for a year.
God damn it.
By mid-February, they're running low on blubber, and when they spot a group of Adelie penguins, over the next 7 days, they kill 600 of them.
Hell yes. Listen, man.
600?
It gives me hope that they're gonna live. Like, dude, you got. I mean, it's like Oregon Trail, dude. I'm not feeling bad for the fucking buffalo in that game. I gotta eat, dude, and ford this river.
They're small penguins. They're not big penguins.
Roast them up, dude.
They're 10 pounds.
They're not the Emperor crew.
No, they're 10 pounds.
Those guys can conjure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These other guys,
They're not even low-level mages.
These little guys, they go like, "What happened to my brother?" And it's like, we murked them.
He's over here near my club. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's check it out.
So, over the next, how long? They killed 600?
Over 7 days. I think there's 28 men in the group.
600 in 7 days?
Look, John, there's
They
nothing
got
to do.
6,000 pounds.
There's nothing to do out there.
They have guns?
They do have guns, but
Dude, shooting.
but they use clubs and knives because to
Yeah,
save the
'cause it's more
ammunition.
intimate.
But also, there's the thing with the seals. You it's noted in both of the books that you just bash them on the head and they just go, and then you stab them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can keep stabbing them.
You can.
You can work
You
out
can.
some evil out there, you know?
Yeah.
You can just fucking...
Yeah, you save the blood. The dogs like the blood. You save the blood for the dogs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Drink the blood.
Quick aside. We will not spend too much time here, Matt.
Okay.
Aaron.
Wolverine. I take Wolverine here.
Aaron, we go to you. And this is Science Corner with Aaron Pita.
There we go.
Nice.
Now we're talking about caloric expenditure. And these guys trudging around, even if they're not pulling something like a sledge. What the fuck do we call it?
A sledge. It's a sled, but it's a sledge that they call a sledge.
If we're just trudging around and we're staying warm and, you know, we're not sleeping and our hearts are beating and everything else, we're going to be expending a lot more calories, right?
By virtue of living?
Just by virtue of living in that climate.
I mean, like, it takes more calories to live in the cold than the heat.
But that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm asking you if that's like why we end up, once we get to a food surplus, that we go completely fucking ape shit and slaughter.
Yeah, and it's just good strategy because you can keep that meat.
Yeah.
You know, it'll keep, and you don't know when the next time it's going to come. And like,
Yeah, no, they
how many men are there?
it was, I believe, 28.
And we have talked about in this series with poor planning, right, from the get-go, especially when you're back in foggy London town.
Yes, and Shackleton is not a risk taker unless he needs to be.
Yeah.
No.
I think it's not a risk to say kill a fuck ton of penguins.
Right.
Yeah, it's not at all.
Yeah.
It's it's the wise move.
And if you can't carry the food, it's better to have food you can't carry than food you need.
Well, going to the South Pole, you are a risk taker. I would also say being
Yes,
I would,
fair.
I would
fair,
also
fair.
say being a British lord in the habitually revolutionary Ireland, you're basically taking risks every day of your life.
Yeah.
Lord Shackleton of Kildare.
Come check this out of it.
But basically, I'm just saying, like, with the pre-planning, was there any kind of thing to be like, from any of these guys, if we're gonna go, it would kind of be good to take somebody with some extra weight on them, some heavy fellas.
No. They're all too.
Well, that would make you fall through the ice.
They're all too stoic to consider those things.
Yeah, it's just like we will persevere.
No, they would. There's no plan to ever eat another person.
He's
saying
getting at somebody who's got fat stores.
Food to burn on the journey.
Oh no,
I don't know. I don't
No.
think that matters.
no. I mean, when you're in places like this, you just want the people who
Do the
the
job.
work and
Well,
are cool.
Maybe he's fat.
Yeah,
Maybe. Or they.
but
are
also
fat.
like after a while, you can't be fat anymore.
Yeah.
you're gonna get the same ration as everybody else.
No, but I'm saying, but you might have a little extra gas in the tank. Is it?
I don't think it matters at this point.
No.
Oh, well, I guess I'll go fuck myself then.
No,
You don't have
it's a
to.
question to ask.
I went to Aaron's Science Corner, and I'm glad I did.
You can bung your
Yeah,
dick.
but they're getting all that good seal meat and fucking penguin bones.
Yeah.
They're eating, and they're not maybe not thriving, but they're surviving. They can get water. They can melt the water.
They can melt snow and ice.
And at this point, if anybody says they don't like the taste of penguin, you just put a bullet in their head. 'Cause you're like,
I like the taste of lead, bitch.
Yeah.
You've been stealing fucking shit.
Or you just club them.
And again, there's a few times where they were very close. They were worried that they're about to run out of food. Leopard seal shows up,
Life finds
and
a
they
way,
all
dude.
go, "Woo, hey!" But a leopard seal will kill a man.
Yes.
It will absolutely kill a man.
1,000-pound slug.
It's a beast. When it gets on land, it does that like worm run.
Yeah.
It's breakdance.
It's very funny unless it's chasing you.
Very cool.
So they killed the 600 penguins. By the end of February, they have now drifted past Paulet Island, the place where they had planned to march. And at the end of March, they see land to the north. It's now been over a year. It's been 14 months, 15
They've
months.
just been shuffling around.
And they've just been on this flow, but they see land to the north, and they're not entirely sure what it is, but they think it's there's some islands out there, and it's like get on land. We can figure it out from there.
We'll make a radio out of a coconut.
But they can't launch because if they launch in between these ice flows, maybe those crush their boat. These are small boats. These boats are not going to take a beating like their big boat will.
Yeah.
And so if they launch early, in 30 seconds, 2 ice flows, 2 giant,
God damn.
1,000-pound, there's so much. They could just crush the boat.
Yeah.
And now you have 2 boats, and you have too many men. They have 3 boats. That's just enough for all of the guys. By April, their flow is now less than 200 yards across. It started at half a mile, and now it has been shrinking, and it's 200 yards across.
So this is reminding me, and this is very stupid, or it's not, I don't know, but of just ice at the top of a glass in your drink.
Yeah.
And you're just going like, there's no planning
Yeah.
of how it
It's
goes.
just swirling around.
And it's just all going to dissolve. Like, fuck, goddamn. That's so
break apart.
And the flow is now drifting out into the open ocean. If they don't act soon, they won't be able to row to any of the islands because the current will just take them out. And if they miss those,
And that's bad.
That's open ocean. That's death. You're not.
And especially will get warmer, which then will dissolve faster, and you'll be fucking dead because it's going away from the South Pole, right?
Yeah, it's still cold,
Yes.
but by being in this flow and moving where it is, it's going to be.
The water will make friction and.
But again, the ice makes the choice for them. It starts breaking up under their feet,
Oh.
and so Shackleton calls the order. They turn the boats out. They pack up as much as they can, and they get into the boats. And they just start rowing for the land that they think they can hope to reach. Now, they're miles and miles away from this land, hundreds of miles. And so they row until they find an ice flow
Hundreds of miles.
They row until they find an ice flow that they think is safe, and they
Get on that.
they anchor the 3 boats. There's 2 rowboats that can fit I think 7 or 8 people each.
Dude,
and
this
then there's
sucks.
the James Cairn, which is a bigger boat that can fit also 7 or 8. So
The closed top.
yeah. And they get out of the boats, they anchor, they set up camp, and Shackleton can't sleep that night, and he starts pacing around. And as he's pacing around, the flow they're on breaks directly underneath his feet.
Dude, his fucking
Again.
pacing.
And it breaks through this tent that is near him. And there's a few men in the tent. A couple of them get out, but they hear a splash. And it's dark. It's dark night. They can't see a single goddamn thing. There's no light. Shackleton runs over, trying to see what's in the water. Notices that there's a guy stuck in a sleeping bag, reaches in with one pull, pulls him out of the water, and as he does, the flow then claps together.
Yes. That is fucking sick.
Yeah.
There you are, sir.
But you can't stop there. The flows are moving.
Yeah.
So the crew now has to take everything and move it to the larger flow.
No time for love, Dr. Jones.
Plus,
And-
now that guy is like soaked, which is
Yes.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that in 1 second. But Shackleton, as they're moving all this stuff, he gets stuck on the flow that is moving away, and it's only him.
Oh.
And he just keeps floating away, and then they can't see him, and out of the darkness, they just hear, "Launch a boat!" And so they take a boat, and they flip it over, and they put it in the water, and they launch it to try to get to this flow. And they do, and they find Shackleton, they load him in, they bring him back. Shackleton gets back to camp, and he orders that the man that fell in, he said, "You do not stop moving all night. You're ordered to walk all night, because otherwise he'd freeze." to death."
dude.
And apparently the guy was like, "I don't mind the walking, but I lost all my tobacco."
Well, give him some fucking tobacco, man.
How about some coke eye drop?
Coke. Really, I mean, these are good guys, you know.
These are
Yeah,
good
yeah.
guys.
These are really good guys.
These are hardcore guys.
Yeah, you could do some coke with them.
It's like 4 cigarettes, sort of in an eye drop.
No, you could drop some of the coke in the
They
cigarette.
good drops, good
Solid.
drop.
Good.
So, next morning, the boats are loaded out again and sent out the next day. They find a flowberg, they call it. It's an iceberg that's floating.
Flowberg.
They camp on it. This time, as they're camping on it, though, the berg just starts getting smashed to bits by other bergs.
That will happen.
And
They'll gang up on the other.
because the wind picked up, and this is Lansing. During the night, the wind had risen to a gale force, and from somewhere to the northeast, great quantities of pack had drifted down on them. Now it extended unbroken to the horizon in every direction. Berg fragments and shattered floes in 10,000 different shapes obliterated the surface of the water. And out of the northwest, rollers, 30 feet high, stretching from horizon to horizon, swept down through the pack in long, implacable lines, a half mile apart.
Waves? Rollers? What?
Yeah.
30-foot waves?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
At their summits, the flowberg was lifted to what seemed like dizzying heights, then dropped into valleys where the horizon was obscured.
Oh.
The air was filled with the dull, muddled roar, the low shriek of the wind, the seas breaking hoarsely against the pack, along the incessant booming grind of the ice.
No.
And because the berg was big, it was drifting slower, and it was just like the target, because it was just... And then it started crumbling beneath them.
30-foot waves hitting your iceberg.
And especially because of like the lack of surface area between the flows, the liquid is gonna like push harder when it gets a fucking like a spot where it can get out. So it's like
I don't like it.
It really is, like a thing of your glass full of ice, and you're going like,
Glass half empty.
This shit travels at its own
Oh, you are nothing.
thing,
Yeah.
and just whirling around and just being like, fucking, okay, well now it's this, and then this berg breaks up and smashes, and then this one, but like just keeps going, and you're like, everything is finite.
You're in a maelstrom.
Everything is finite, and like you're just like, God damn,
Humbling.
I can't. Yeah, very, very humbling.
So as soon as they get a chance, Shackleton orders them again into the boats. And now the decision is kind of made, like, no more ice. We're going to be in the boats, and we're going to row until we hit one of those islands.
Still very risky.
And the wind is getting worse. And the next night, there's no floes to sleep on, so they anchor the 3 boats together.
And they sleep on the...
And they sleep in the boats as they're bobbing in the ocean.
That is potentially a death sentence.
Yes.
If 2 fucking flows hit together,
Dude, if a wave...
all 3 are smashed.
Well, I mean,
A
yes.
wave could topple them over.
Yeah, they have a sea anchor that they put in between them, but
It's a lot of Hail Marys in these expeditions.
it's remarked like this is the worst sleep you're on a boat.
No one's sleeping.
No one's sleeping. This is what Lansing writes. They did what they could to keep the boats baled dry, but the water sometimes rose ankle deep. To keep their feet from freezing, they worked their toes constantly inside their boots. They could only hope that the pain in their feet would continue because comfort, much as they yearned for it, would mean that they were freezing.
Yeah.
After a time, it took extreme concentration for them to keep wiggling their toes. It would have been so terribly easy to stop.
That is so fucking interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know.
Well, that's what they say. Like before you die of hypothermia, you get warm.
Yes.
Because your body's just going into shutdown.
I think I was thinking my dad in the fucking like Inferno, the apartment building in Manhattan, and he's like,
well, like there was a fire.
yeah,
Okay.
and he's like I couldn't get out.
Yeah.
And he's like, and then like there was like this, like a fucking like a mirror, you know, door like you had in your room, and
Okay.
and he's like, and I was like, the fire was just creating all these colors in the glass. And he's like, I was just kind of tripping out on that. And he's like, and then some fucking fireman like bursts through fucking wall like the goddamn Kool-Aid man, pulls me out, starts giving me oxygen, whatever. And he goes, I'm saying to him, I was very chill. Like, he's like, I knew I was trapped and gonna die, but he's like, but I was just like, oh, look at these cool colors and like blah blah. And the guy goes, it's the smoke.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, it's the smoke. And he goes, we find people just like curled up in little balls, like they're going to take a nap in these fires a lot because they get so chilled out.
Yeah, I'd rather die that way than to burn alive consciously.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, but you know, it's weird how there's these you know, bunch of weird fail safes with fucking like life and death situation. So you go like, in that situation, you're going like, if you're not panicking, it's time to panic.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Right, yeah.
Which is fucking really freaky.
I think I'll go to sleep now.
Mm-hmm.
So the boats they have to bail out. They have to bail out the boats. They have to survive through this night. And also, you know, water that hits the side of the boat, you know, it will freeze. And so there's ice collecting on the boats, which is only going to make them sink.
Wait now.
All the guys, they all have diarrhea from eating uncooked pemmican. They have to urinate a lot, and the physicians, their idea at the time was that because they were all soaked through with water, that maybe they were taking in a lot of water or something. But
bad advice.
So they would have to like get up and like shit off the side of the boat, and then when they did, then the water would splash up.
Shit water would splash back.
Yeah. So they get out of. They wake up the next morning and they go like, okay, we got to make a fucking.
We got to stop shitting where we swim, guys.
Every half hour or so, someone would have to get up and knock the ice off the boats. And so they rowed all day and then into the night of the next day, no stopping. Sometimes they would lose ground. Boat would be sinking because the ice, the way, you know, the waves were the current was too strong, but they would sink, they would rise, they would freeze, they would freeze, they would freeze. And they kept going, and they kept rowing, and eventually they reach Elephant Island. And if they had missed this, there's little chance they would get to the next. I think it was like there's another island, but there's little chance they would get to that.
MILF Island or something like that.
But they get to it. They get to Elephant Island, and here is a map of that.
Wow.
Oh.
And it's this tiny little island. Completely, the Google reviews are just harsh.
Are there Google reviews?
Not of this one, but of another island. But
not an elephant in sight.
There might be, but it's you know, it's just this pretty desolate place. There's a glacier on it where they can sometimes get fresh water. Sometimes it's salty. The wind is just whipping through it constantly.
Yeah.
They do find some penguins, but they land and they take a day, and they then move to find a better place for the camp.
But on the same island.
On the same island.
Okay.
Now, how big is this island?
It looks rather smaller.
It is fucking. It's tiny.
Okay.
It's a tiny island. It would take you a whole day at least to
Walk
cross.
Right, but it's small.
It's not huge.
Yeah.
It's not big.
But also, you have the thing of, the Earth provides its own kind of warmth in that way.
Well, so one thing. That's. I think
Like that thing of,
I have this marked. No, it's exactly that.
Road ice is before bridge is like a thing where it's like, if there's ground underneath, it's like there won't be ice. The minute there's not ground underneath,
Yeah.
there's fucking ice, bro.
Right.
And you're getting on that bridge, and it's
So-
like, "Whoa!"
So when they're on their way there, the stowaway at Blackborough, his feet had become frostbitten and he couldn't walk. And Shackleton, trying to cheer him up, says, "When we get to that island, you'll be the first one out. You'll be the first man to ever walk on that island." And Blackborough doesn't respond. And when they get there, Shackleton is like, "You do it,
Kick it!
do it." And Blackborough can't. He literally
Right.
and then Shackleton is like he's like, "Oh fuck it, my bad."
Yeah.
And so they hop off and they start pulling the boats ashore. And as they do that, one of the guys turns pale and suffers a heart attack. Another guy's frostbitten feet barely support him, and he lays down alongside Blackborough. Another guy, all of these guys just, the boats land, someone runs off, grabs the rope, holds it to shore, everybody else gets off and just collapses onto the beach. And this is what Lansing writes. They were on land. It was the merest handhold, 100 feet wide and 50 feet deep. A meager grip on a savage coast, exposed to the full fury of the sub-Antarctic Ocean. But no matter. They were on land. For the first time in 497 days, they were on land. Solid, unsinkable, immovable, blessed land. Yeah. And he goes on to write, like, this is the first time since the boat had got stuck and they got off the boat where they didn't have to constantly
Worry.
Now
you can sleep.
This is where any sound could mean their death.
But it also means that now you have time to take a tally of everything you've been through. And for some of them, it means
A heart attack.
I die.
Yeah.
He didn't die. He survived the heart attack. But he's also on a small little island.
Yeah, yes. Okay.
I got a seal heart replacement.
Doctor said I blew a seal. And I said, what, does it come on my face?
I'm going to show you. So here's a picture of the boats. Let me see here. Is this one? Yeah. So here's one of the boats.
Oh yeah, so they're like straight up.
Can you
like,
blow that up?
Yeah.
They're big like lifeboats.
Yeah. So that one's a big lifeboat. The James Caird, the boat.
The one with the top is like the same
Yes.
size with a fucking canvas fucking covered.
Barely barely.
Not that much bigger, about 22 feet or so. Not that much bigger.
That's it?
But it has a top, yeah. And they fill the bottom with stones for a ballast to keep it balanced.
Oh my god.
And
Yeah, that doesn't look that good.
no. But the day after they land, Shackleton then announces to the crew what they had all been expecting, which was that he and a team of a small crew, I think it was about 3 other people, would take out the James Caird and row for the South Georgian island, the place that they had landed all those years ago, in order to get any help at all.
And that's far.
That is a trip that has been done once since. And I need to free up some space on the hard drive, so let's take a quick little break.
All right, we'll be right back, folks. And we're back.
Wondering if we make that trip.
So no, Matt, we're heading from what you said, Easter Island.
Keister Island.
Elephant Island.
Elephant Island.
Elephant Island. So they landed at Elephant Island, And Shackleton, I think they're stuck in a blizzard for. Oh no, that's after. But they land in Elephant Island. They have to move camp to. They're like, I think there's a better camp over here. They move camp to there. The ground is just frozen solid, covered in penguin guano, and they do find there's like they're near the glacier that is on this mountain, or draped over this mountain, and they dig an ice cave into it.
Cool.
Yeah, it's the thing.
Shelter is neat.
And Shackleton says, okay, I gotta save you guys. So
You're not gonna save yourselves, you fucking pansies.
I'm now gonna take a small crew, and we are gonna get in the James Caird, and we're gonna try to cross this sea. Now, this sea is even today. There's very little. There's not a lot about it. There's not a lot known about it. Very few people have traveled it, or I think the U.S. Antarctic weather report about it is that some of the worst sea in the world.
It's like an icy chaos mosh pit of.
Imagine a black hole of ice.
Yeah, imagine like a harrowing sort of pit of despair.
If hell was made of water and ice instead of fire and brimstone, this sea would be it.
That's it.
One of the most interesting things that I learned about it is that this patch of sea, what the fuck is it called? I can't remember. It is one of the few parts of the ocean where there's no land to stop the current. So this is one of the parts of the ocean where the water just girdles the earth, as Lansing calls it, where it just spins in this counterclockwise motion and just always ends up where it started.
It's like the ocean with no supervision.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a freaky sleepover.
It's a latchkey ocean.
Yes.
Yes. And they're going to make this run to the South Georgia Islands, where that
through this neglected child tornado of water is thriving.
Drake's Passage, that's what it's called. Winds 150 to 200 miles an hour.
I'm sorry,
God
what?
Damn.
Yes.
Winds 100 to 200 miles an hour.
150 to 200 miles an hour. Constant swirling clockwise motion around the Earth. The waves produced by this can get up to 80, 90 feet high and move at speeds of 35 miles an hour.
Biblical.
Biblical.
Darwin, when he saw the waves breaking in Tierra del Fuego from this, he wrote, "The sight is enough to make a landsman dream for a week about death, peril, and shipwreck." Nothing about birds. And so Shackleton says, "Hey, we're gonna do this," and they set out.
Let's go
with 6 weeks of rations, I believe it, and everybody at Elephant Island,
we'll chill here.
They get their food together, and they put out the rations, and they build a campsite. And they take the boats and they use them as like a roof, and take some rocks and they build up a foundation, and then, try to
start a society.
Yeah.
Start over, dude. Those guys are dead.
Basically, yeah.
It's over.
We got to learn to breed.
Learn to breed.
Black bro? That means you, pal.
Yes. 6 weeks of food, consisting of 3 cases of the scrupulously hoarded sledging ration, 2 cases of nut food, a supply of biscuits, powdered milk, bouillon cubes to provide party with hot drinks. Cooking would be done on a small Primus stove, and 2 were to be taken, so in case they had to spare. A little extra clothing that would be found in the way of socks and mittens was rounded up, 6 of the reindeer sleeping bags. And they eventually are able to push the boat out. As they're pushing it out, 2 of the guys on the boat fall into the water. One of them refuses the offer of fresh clothes. The other one takes it. And I'm good. The boat goes out, and before long, they're gone. Oh God! And for the people on the island, they go, well, Shackleton leaves a man in charge with a note saying like, hey, if I don't return, this guy's in charge. Here's what we try to do. And the man in charge, then everybody gets to work, and they start building a camp. And one of the things they do, so they build a shelter. They eat, they read, they piss, and they just
learn.
They just sit there and worry. And after a month of doing this, they do surgery on Blackborough's foot because it's now frostbitten.
And they're bored.
I was just gonna say, dude, boredom.
No, they had to wait, as they said, for the dead skin to separate from the living skin.
God damn it! Fuck, shit, bitch.
And so they set up in their hut. They set up a little operation. They have chloroform.
Oh, cool.
And they put him out. And
Put him out.
The man stows away on your doomed vessel. Put him out.
Well, they had to heat the hut to 80 degrees for the chloroform to start
Not evaporate.
Yeah. They take his foot and they.
What a vacation for those guys.
Yeah.
The hut's
kinda hot
at
in
80
here.
now. Damn. I want to pierce my nipples.
They sterilize the scalpel, and then they actually have doctors with them. So
Okay, good.
McIlroy, and this is Lansing. McIlroy then asked for a pair of forceps and Wilde removed them from the boiling water. To Greenstreet, they looked like a pair of tin snips. Carefully, McIlroy reached well up under the flap of skin to where the toes joined the foot. Then one at a time, he cut them off. Each dropped with a metallic clatter into the empty tin can below. Next, McIlroy meticulously scraped away the dead, blackened flesh. When the wound was clean, he carefully stitched it up. Finally, it was done. Blackborough's foot had been neatly trimmed off just at the ball joint. Altogether, it had taken 55 minutes.
Damn.
The rest of the men, meanwhile, had sought shelter in the cave which had been dug in the face of the glacier. They had spent the time cutting each other's hair.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. Gossiping.
Yeah. Oh, hey, what's new with you? I got a haircut.
Yeah, shut talk.
Oh, your foot.
I got a foot trimmed.
This is called a mullet.
What do you guys think? Do I look younger?
Do you understand how it looks like I'm serious when I face you?
But the other way, it's
But
like,
when I
whoa,
leave,
this
it's
guy
like, oh, that
fucked.
guy fucking killed. Like,
Meanwhile, Shackleton's boat. It makes 120 miles in 2 days.
That's incredible.
Yeah. They're working nonstop. But their woolen clothes, of course, they're soaked through. Oh, here, actually, let me show you a picture of the Elephant Island party.
It's a cool party. God, those guys.
They all smell like shit.
oh my god, dude, they can't even smell anything. Those
No, yeah.
poor bastards.
Okay, all right.
Do you ever feel like some of those old pictures of like people assembled for terrible things look like just like snapshots of hell?
Well, especially in this case, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so he makes 120 miles in 2 days.
In 2 days.
But it's a 300-mile trip.
Something like, yeah. And their clothes are just frozen,
Yeah.
just blocks of ice. They make slow and steady pace, and they eventually reach Drake's Passage. No one had ever taken an open boat through there. Winds, of course. And eventually, in 6 days, they cover 280 miles. They're cruising miserably. Someone always has to bail
Water out.
and the only place to sleep is underneath the covering of the boat, but that's all also filled with rocks. So every time the boat shakes, you get kicked up and you fall back onto this pile of rocks.
Damn.
And they were a third of the way after 280 miles. So it was more than 300, sorry.
Oh, it's so far.
Something like 700 miles almost. And every so often the sails would freeze solid. So they would have to pull them down and knock the ice off them. And then after a week of doing this, there's 6 inches of ice that had built up on the side of the boat, which was also dragging it down. And so they had to knock that ice off. And they don't really have a lot of harnesses. And so if whoever goes out there, if they fall off the boat, they're gone.
That's that.
Their sleeping bags, the reindeer bags, they had begun to rot and were slimy inside. 2 of them had to be thrown overboard. They weighed 40 pounds each by the time they threw them overboard because they're frozen. They had rot like.
Is that because of the sweat inside?
I think it's because they couldn't keep the boat dry. The waves are constantly crashing. The boat is too small to be riding in this. The waves are constantly crashing over the boat and filling up the boat. And and
soaking the bags.
They have a pump, but the guy who's holding the pump to the floor, he can only do that for a few minutes before his fingers freeze. And so they constantly have to be shifting guys. And whoever's on top of the boat who's helping steer, he can only do that for half an hour before he'll freeze to death. And because he's getting splashed with water the whole time. And so they constantly have the guys switching in and out and in and out.
Good guys. Solid guys.
On May 2nd, they hit a wave that ripped the anchor off the boat.
Oh. God damn it.
Better than the stern.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck it. At this point, you're fucking pot committed. Let's go.
No.
Then they were stuck in a gale for 3 days and had no idea which direction they were going. Oh my God. Their hands were covered in saltwater boils.
No.
It was described as and then they would freeze. And so they would have like pebbles of boils on their hands. Their bodies were soft with dead white skin from being constantly soaked.
Yeah.
If you ever, pool. One of their water barrels leaked and had become black and foul. And they had to ration their water to a cup.
How could it become foul with the sterile atmosphere?
At this point, they're no longer.
One of the ideas is that with the reindeer bags, as they had disintegrated, the hairs got everywhere and maybe got into the barrel.
Gotcha.
But also it was leaking.
Yeah.
And on May 5th, in a gale still, a giant wave almost sinks the boat. I believe this is the one that Shackleton says this is the largest wave I've ever seen.
Jesus Christ.
And as they're doing this, they're also riding the waves. They're going up 30, 40 feet, riding the top of the waves and then crashing down this whole time.
In this tiny, stupid boat.
Yes. But on May 8th, 14 days after they started, there's a break in the clouds and they see the South Georgia Island. It takes them 2 days in a hurricane wind to row and ride their way into land. They eventually land and they go, this is a bad place to be. And they get back in the boat and they go and find another inlet.
Dude, to get back in the boat?
Yeah.
Big swing. Big swing.
No, this is a whaling station island?
Yes, this is where they landed, the last place they stopped.
So there is some sort of outpost.
They know there is.
Okay.
And
there's a fucking seal there in a fucking Man United jersey being like, I'm one of you.
No, so they land in this little bay and they know that there's this whaling station on the other side of the island because that's where they had been before. What they did not know, and there was also a whaling station that was closer, but for all they knew, when they had left in those 3 years earlier, that station was seasonal. They didn't know that when they landed this time, it was all year. Wow. So they could have, it was like
a few miles away.
Not far, a half day's walk. Fuck. So Shackleton puts together a party of 3 men to make the 26-mile trip to the whaling station they had left 522 days earlier.
Oh my God.
3 men, no sleeping bags, 3-day rations.
Damn.
No, nonstop. By dawn, they had ascended to 3,000 feet because they had to climb this mountain to then get down to the other side. And at 3,000 feet, they could see the northern coast there. They were above Possession Bay. And so now they needed to move east to then get to the whaling station. And so they kept having to go back. They would go up and go, oh, we can't get down here, and then come back down. And then go up again, we can't get out, and come back down.
Yeah.
And they reach a point they're about 4,000 feet up, and the place they need to be is 2,000 feet down. And Shackleton not a frivolous man. He turns to the two guys he's with, and he says...
Starts spraying champagne every...
Toboggan.
He says, we're going to slide down this thing.
Fuck yeah, dude.
And...
Smart.
You boys have earned this.
And the guys say, like, well, what if there's rocks? What if it doesn't level off?
What if?
And Shackleton says he demands. He said, "Could we stay up here? We can't because we're 4,000 feet up. If we spend the night here, we freeze to death."
Yeah. Or we can't.
Understand? Either we have the time of our lives.
If we stay the course, we are dead.
We are all dead.
This is from Lansing. So the decision was made. Shackleton said they would slide as a unit, holding on to one another. They quickly sat down and untied the rope which had held them together. Each of them coiled it up his share to form a mat. Worsley locked his legs around Shackleton's waist and put his arms around Shackleton's neck. Crean did the same with Worsley. Then they looked like three tobogganers without a toboggan. Altogether, it took more than a minute. A little more than a minute. Shackleton did not permit any time for reflection. When they were ready, he kicked off. In the next instant, their heart were beating. They seemed to hang poised for a split second. Then suddenly the wind shrieking down their ears, a white blur of snow tore past. Down, down, they screamed, not in terror necessarily, but simply because they couldn't help it. It was squeezed out of them by the rapidly mounting pressure in their ears and against their chests. Faster, 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 down.
Oh, dude, I'm screaming on that.
Yeah. Whee!
Then they shot forward onto the level, and their speed began to slacken. A moment later, they came to an abrupt halt in the snowbank. They did a 2,000-foot slide.
Oh, my God.
Dude, that's a half mile.
Yeah.
And not knowing what's...
But dude, we could hit a fucking rock in our bum. Mm-hmm. They could be all bunged out.
Their dicky could be all bunged out.
Oh, my God, dude. That is... But that might be that thing, too, where you go like, all right, probably going to die.
Let's go out having a good time.
Yeah.
Let's either get there faster or,
Don't get there.
Yeah, but also, we made it this far.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing's killed us yet, and we don't have another option.
Yeah.
And it's like in both parts of this story, the first and the second, it's a thing too where you just go like, there is that thing of like just going like the one guy makes the calls.
Yep.
And we do.
And even if they're bad, dude, fuck, we do.
He has led you to the promised land. I mean, so far. I mean, it's not promised, but I mean, he's led you through the valley of the shadow of death.
Mm-hmm.
And when they landed, they looked up, and there's a storm that was now hitting where they were 2,000 feet up.
Out of the frying pan.
No, it's where they were.
Yeah.
The storm was where they were.
Where they landed?
No, where they had been.
Oh,
2,000 feet up. At the
They got out at
Wow.
the time.
That's incredible.
So they pick themselves up and they keep going. Now they're traveling by moonlight. And they find a gap in this mountainous ridge, and on May 20, they see the harbor below them. And they knew they're on the right path. 7 o'clock in the morning, they hear at 6:50 in the morning, they hear a steam whistle. The first sound from
Anything man-made.
since they had left 500 plus days ago. But they don't know exactly what it could be anything.
Could be the Germans.
And so they go, we know that they blow it every 5 minutes when it's work time. And so they stand there and they wait 5 minutes. And exactly at 6:55, it blows again. And they go, we did it. We found the fucking place. And they
What place?
the whaling station. And they work their way down, and they get down there, and they climb over this rail, and they start like walking down this plank. They scare this kid to shit.
That's him.
Kid beats their ass. Like,
So-
oofty.
But when the whistle rings, exactly at 7, they turn to each other and they shake each other's hands. And they make their way not without saying a word.
Oh, dude, yeah. Does that
Button
thing
that up.
That's the thing where you're like also embarrassed. You go like, Well, I never had any doubt.
You're gonna make it.
I didn't. When I said you could fuck me,
Nah.
We're gonna leave that up on the mountain.
Lansing writes, it's a peculiar thing to stir a man, the sound of a factory whistle heard on a mountainside.
Such a Hail Mary, dude.
So they still have to go. They go down 500 feet, and they get there, and they climb they're cutting steps, and they climb their way up, and they get onto the near the station, and the kid runs away from him, and Worsley, who's with them, they just realize that they're going to see people again.
Yeah.
And Worsley reaches into his sweater, takes out rusty pins, and then fixes up the holes in his trousers.
Wow.
How's my hair? Wish I could have cut by some of those guys in the glacier hole. Look like shit. I probably smell bad. Plus,
Isn't
I
that
farted.
fucking ridiculous how we all like kind of react that way?
Yeah.
We're just like,
Well, I hope we look good.
oh, I gotta show up somewhere. I mean,
So this kid runs in. He gets the foreman out, and the foreman comes out to meet them, and all the workmen are stopped because they know of Shackleton, who had been there, and he's had no contact with the outside world this whole
for
time.
almost 2 years.
And Shackleton goes. He said,
this is where's it going?
This is where they were meant. This is where he was trying to go.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah."
Which is
This is the
whaling station they had stopped at before they got
the
stuck.
original.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Shackleton goes to the foreman and says, would you please take us to Anton Anderson? Foreman shook his head. Anton Anderson was not Stromness anymore. He explained he had been replaced by the regular factory manager, Thorolf Sorrel.
Thor of Searle?
Thorolf.
Oh, Thorolf.
The Englishman seemed pleased. Good, he said. I know Sorrel well. The foreman led the way to Sorrel's house about 100 yards to the right. Almost all the workmen on the pier had left their jobs to come see the three strangers who appeared at the dock. Now they lined the route, looking curiously at the foreman and his three companions. Anderson knocked at the manager's door, and after a moment, Sorrel opened it. He was in his shirt sleeves and still sporting his big handlebar mustache. When he saw the three men, he stepped back, and a look of disbelief came over his face. For a long moment, he stood shocked and silent before he spoke. Who the hell are you? He said at last.
Fuck.
The man in the center stepped forward. My name is Shackleton, he replied in a quiet voice. Again, there was silence. Some say that Sorrel turned away and wept.
Who is Shackleton?
Things have gone a little bit differently since you've left. The Germans are wonderful.
The Kaiser is on top. No.
He weeps. Ugh.
Yeah, that was...
Really?
Turns away and weeps. They
They give him some coffee and some food or what, man?
But it is. I get it. It's a thing of going like,
I've seen a
wow,
dead man.
like,
Yeah.
a ghost came and was like, dude, I did it.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, just 1 second.
I mean, I just gotta turn away. Anyways.
As I was saying before, you're all welcome.
You're so gay. You good man. So they feed them. They kind of have a banquet for them.
They puke it all up.
Yeah. They Shackleton, he goes, we gotta pick up the guy at the other end of the island who we left there. And so they get up plans to do that and then rescue the men at Elephant Island. As they leave, all of the workers there form a line and shake their hands.
Oh, dude.
And they set out. They pick up the other man from the other side of South Georgia Island, and then because the ice had created a flow around Elephant Island, it takes 3 months. And all of the men on the island are going, well, he's dead.
He's not coming back.
He's not coming back. And they put out a lookout every day. And then one day, boop, Shackleton, 3 months, finding ships that just couldn't get close enough because of the ice. And eventually he reaches out to the Chileans. They have this boat that he'd used before, and it gets close enough for him to get another boat in.
And he's on the boat, Shackleton.
Yeah. And the men see him.
For 3 months?
3 months. The men see him and they say, like, you got to check out what we've done here. And he goes, No fucking way. All of you need to
Wait. Explain.
Shackleton goes to rescue the guys on Elephant Island.
Yeah.
And they've been there for 3-4 months.
Yes.
And they go, you got to see what we built. You know, we figured out cold fusion or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
We have a whole society. We bartered with the penguins and formed a partnership.
Partnership with the Cenobites.
Yeah, and he's like, fuck no.
I don't even care.
Yeah.
Get on the boat.
He says, now, everybody out.
I'm done.
We're going.
Yeah. I have a wife, I think.
And they leave. They just rush off. They leave as Lansing says, like things they thought they could never live without. Don't mean anything.
Damn.
And one of the guys says when he looks back, he sees his coat flapping in the wind, and he says, well, that's for the weather to rip apart and for the animals to enjoy now. It'll be there forever.
Damn.
And they all get on this boat, ride back to England.
Fuck.
And so they all survived.
They all survived.
Jesus. Fuck. Saving Private Ryan sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, minus a foot and one got a heart attack, but they all lived.
Incredible.
Hey,
I don't
Never
think-
accomplished anything he set out to do except making sure they all lived.
And it's better.
Yeah.
But it's also the thing too, because before Scott in episode 1, it's like Shackleton going like, all right, I'm 90 miles away from it, but you know what? Not time.
Yeah.
It is not time.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, well, then like he gets away with this shit because it's like he's just being like realistic, and he's not trying to be like, well, damn it, if I die, it'll be for old Britannia.
Not today.
No.
You know.
Fuck, man. Any movies about this? It's quite
They made a lot of movies around that.
A song,
The 20s and 30s, I think, and they're all just crappy.
Yeah, no, they got to do this one
Yeah.
because that is some harrowing shit.
Yeah, Perfect Storm. I mean,
Yeah, fuck Perfect Storm. They made half of that shit up
Yeah.
because those guys didn't live to tell the tale. They just made it up.
Yeah. But like what we're saying, like with, The Thing and The Martian and like all those types of movies, you're like, all right, what about just a real thing about guys going to the South Pole? Like,
Yeah.
holy shit.
Yeah.
That shit is fucking bananas.
Yeah.
Boys, that is a good one.
Let me see.
That was incredible, man.
Here, let me show you. Here's the final map for you. 800 nautical miles to South Georgia.
Wow.
One team has done. One group has done it since.
Yeah,
It was
in
like
a
19.
modern boat.
Yeah. I should also, I'd meant to add this at the end of the first episode. The BBC did an experiment documentary where they had 2 teams in Greenland. One, a Norwegian team using Edmondson's equipment and supplies and food, and a British team doing that with Scott's supplies and food and equipment. And the British team lost so much weight that they had to cancel it. And the
Norwegians are like, this is great.
Yeah.
But
Never had such a good time in all my life.
Oh, God.
that's the circular journey that Shackleton did, and was
That is
forever.
incredible.
God damn, dude. That's so incredible.
800 miles in 2 weeks with that little
I
boat.
love that. There's a party that hears that story and just goes like, I don't know, like, I mean, I think you and I were doing both the same thing during Bless you, Angel. Bless you, you good boy.
Excuse me.
But like, as Matt was describing it, you and I would keep going, like, looking through the screen to be like, where are we on the map right now? Because like,
You're doing you're putting yourself in their shoes.
Yeah.
and you're doing the
And it's cold.
yeah,
And I don't want to be in the
but you're going like, how much longer do they have to go?
Yeah.
Matt, incredible.
Really great. Really great.
I understand the thing of like, you want to be the first to do blah, 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 and all that shit. And that is sometimes for country and is sometimes for sheer ego,
Yes.
right?
Fame, riches, achievement. Those are the three things.
The thing is, like, all right, the Norwegians got there before us, so now what if we just crisscross it like fucking, you know?
Right.
And you're going like, all right, well, that doesn't really mean much, but also like, you are better equipped to do it. But I get it. The fucking guy that won't stop drinking unless he's
Yeah.
courting death every day.
Yeah.
Understand that.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
It was incredible. Fellas, let's call it.
Call it.
I'm going to say goodnight. My name is John Fahey.
I'm Aaron Pita.
Mapper so.
Good night, everybody. We love you.
Night.